Anyway, I'm here to talk to you about sci-fi books. Here I prepared some notes, so I might peek into them from time to time. Here's the bunch, 10 books. I'm going to dissect right in front of your eyes. Will they pass the test? Or will they burn in fire? Who knows? We'll see. 10 books, 10 trials. Here I have this beverage handy to keep me refreshed. And we can proceed. So, let's start with two books I have read 20 years ago, and throughout the years I completely forgot all about them. So now I was curious if I would like them as much as I did back then, or if I would like them at all. The first book of the tandem is Ubik by Philip Kindred Dick, and oh boy, I was fascinated by this book back then. I talk about it to whoever I could. I talk about it to my family, I talk about it to my friends, I talk about it to my girlfriend, which wasn't the best idea since she wasn't into sci-fi at all. But it doesn't matter, because it was great. So this time I picked it up, I started to read, I dived in, I finished it in no time, and I was blown away again. I mean, the premise is amazing. The story follows this guy named Joe Chip, who works for the psychic espionage agency, and he starts to experience these strange spatial alterations in reality, and these alterations can be reversed back to normal with spraying a compromised spot with this mysterious substance called Ubik, which you can buy in a store in a spray form. I mean, the protagonist of the book, not you. So this was absolutely fantastic read. I love this book. It is one of my favorite PKD novels. I mean, I've only read like 10 of them maybe, and he wrote like 40 of them. So I haven't read even such classics like Dr. Bloodmoney or Men in High Castle. So there's definitely a lot to discover there, that's for sure. So that was Ubik. By the way, this is a Czech edition. Cover art seems kind of lazy, but it works for me. The surface of the cover seems to be irrevocably bent. I think it must fell into water at some point in my life. Probably when I was taking bath. So anyway, this was Ubik. Great read. The second read was also a novel by Philip Kindred Dick, Three Stigmatas of Palmer Eldritch. So, did I like the book second time around? No, I didn't. God damn it. So, the next book in a row is Alfred Bester's Stars Are My Destination, also known as Tiger Tiger. This is a proto-cyberpunk classic from the 50s. It's very well known and beloved. I heard a lot of things about this book, and I wanted to read this for a very long time. So I happened to be in a bookstore one day, and I wanted to buy the book. I saw it on the shelf, I took it from the shelf, I looked at it, I looked at the price, and I thought to myself, what if it sucks? So I didn't buy it, and I put it back. But a few years later my brother bought it, and so I borrowed it from him, started to read, started to dive in, and I realized that it sucks. So what was the reason? One of the themes of the book is teleportation, called jaunting in the book. And I thought, when I was reading, I thought this theme was touched only very lightly in the book, and then it turned into this cosmic tale about taking revenge, and I didn't care that much about this. I didn't care much about the main protagonist either, so that's it. With that said, I thought I wasn't completely honest with the book, so a year later I picked it up again, I started to read, and surprisingly this time around I liked it. The world of sci-fi books is full of surprises, I guess. I mean, it still didn't become one of my favorite sci-fi novels of all time, but now I kind of understand why people are so enthusiastic about it. And I mean, it's not bad, but it could be even better if it contained more stuff about teleportation. Uh, the teleportation is one of the coolest abilities a human could possess. If I would find myself in a situation in which a magical genie would grant me any wish I want, I would go for an ability to teleport. No flying, no super fast running, not even immortality, none of that crap. Just good, plain old simple ability to teleport. That's it. The next book I have read recently is Spin by Robert Charles Wilson. Spin won a Hugo Award in 2006, and it is about this giant cosmic membrane which encompasses the Earth, and time runs differently on Earth and differently in outer space. Neat idea, if you ask me. I have read 100 pages in a day. Wow, what an amazing stuff, I thought. I had proceed and continue with the reading. Oh, fuck it, oh, itchy. A next book I have read recently was Spin, written by Robert Charles Wilson. Spin won a Hugo Award in 2006, and it is about this giant cosmic membrane which encompasses the Earth, and time runs differently on Earth and differently in outer space. Neat idea. I have read 100 pages in a day. Amazing stuff. Then I had a short break, and after that I continued with the rest of the book. Was the rest of the book as amazing as those first 100 pages? No. A next book I have read recently is Hot House, written by Brian Wilson Aldiss. Just for the record, I would like to say that this is all highly subjective, right? This whole book talking and book reviewing, so don't take my words too seriously. Also, I would like to say that I love Nonstop, which is Aldiss, another book from the 50s. It's absolutely amazing, packed with ideas. Go check it out. It's one of my favorite sci-fi books of all time. But this is about Hot House, not Nonstop. Hot House is also packed with ideas, but only for about, let's say, 70 pages. And then it turns into one of the most annoying post-apocalyptic adventures I had the pleasure to hold in my hands in the book form. I would compare it to Philip Jose Farmer's final book, The Dark is the Sun. They are both very similar in narrative style. They both start great, and then they turn into this literary blob of nothingness, boredom, and even, can I say, bad writing. bad writing then, and even cringe. Yes, there are some attempts at humor in this book. I failed to finish this book 3 times until I succeed 4th time, which is this time. There's like an invisible borderline stretching over a certain part of the book, and every time when I crossed this borderline, I was transferred from the land of sense of wonder to the realm of sense of boredom, basically. The cringe stuff, the humorous stuff. There are comic relief characters present in the book in a certain form of tribe and people called bumblebees, who the main protagonist encounters on his quest, and this humorous aspect is absolutely awful. I had to say that. There's an afterword written by Aldis himself in the book. There is also a foreword written by Neil Gaiman, but that's another matter. So in this afterword, Aldis talks about how the editor from Signet wanted him to drop all this humorous, witty, jocular stuff with tummy bellies people. By the way, a wise man, that editor from Signet. But Aldis refused and told him to go fuck up. No, just kidding. And told him that he would rather submit the whole book to a different publisher. The Signet published the whole package eventually, but boy, if Aldis listened to him, the book would be more tolerable, just a little bit, but even that counts. One might ask why the hell I tried to read this book 3 or 4 times, since clearly some aspects of the book didn't work for me. And that is a good question to which I don't have a reasonable answer. Sometimes you just keep trying and trying to do things you know will have a barely satisfying outcome, and you still keep going and going no matter what. So this was the case. Still, I recommend Hot House. I recommend reading Hot House. Read at least 60-70 pages, be amazed, and then be prepared for the worst. Or maybe not. Maybe you like it. Who knows? The world of sci-fi books is full of surprises, right? The next book I have read recently is Inferno, written by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle, and it is about a sci-fi writer who commits suicide and ends up in a vestibule of hell, and then he tries to traverse various circles of hell and basically to reach more pleasant metaphysical destinations. An interesting idea, and I'm always eager to read a book written by Larry Niven. So, did I like the book? Did I like the Inferno? I mean, of course I did. Why wouldn't I? It was great read, well written, fast-paced. Recommended. God damn it, I feel so bad now after shitting all over the Hot House. I mean, it's not that bad. It's like 5 or 6 out of 10. I mean, I probably over disliked it. The reason why probably is because it is like a pastiche of 5 different novellas put together. It even won Hugo Award, I forgot to mention that. So anyway, let's continue with these 2 colorful candies written by Cixin Liu, Three Body Problem and The Dark Forest. By the way, I love these cover arts by Stefan Martinier. I'm glad they used them for these Czech editions. I also love the paper they used for these editions. It's thin and flexible. Look how easily it is bending. The book basically reads itself. I mean, you can intensely read this book without putting any like these cracks or distortions on the back. Look how smooth it is. I mean, not like some books I know. Some books I've seen books that were wasted in this manner. I've seen my share. Anyway, a three-body problem and the Dark Forest. First one I have read within a week. The second one I was reading for about 4 months. So you can imagine how differently this book engaged me. By the way, some people on the internet, I heard some people talk about this book in this manner that if you are a experienced reader of science fiction, you probably won't enjoy this book. I beg to differ. I mean, I have read a lot of science fiction and I still enjoy them. So, the first one, three-body problem. I love this book. Love the whole mystery, love the whole premise, love the virtual reality stuff featuring this bizarre alien world. I mean, there is a extremely cool scene near the end in which these aliens are trying to do a space-time unfolding experiments, and it's amazingly written. And my only complaint about this scene, or about the whole book maybe, is that these aliens are depicted like they're behaving in a very human way. They're talking to each other and communicating like some kind of human military personnel or scientists would talk to each other. These aliens are just not alien enough, basically. So that was surprisingly like weird and a bit of disappointing. But other than that, I love the book. So the Dark Forest. My reception of Dark Forest was more lukewarm. I mean, I like everything related to the armada of Earth spaceships, how they were constructed, how they work, and hard sci-fi stuff like that, or anything basically related to the aliens and alien droplet spaceship. There's an extremely cool scene somewhere in the middle of the book in which this alien droplet spaceship engaged the whole armada of Earth spaceships, and it is absolutely beautifully written. It's at the same time a complete massacre, but so well written. And such a scene is hard to write, that's for sure. So what else? Also there are some storylines in the book about which I didn't care much. So, but what else I did like? I like the ending in which the whole idea of the Dark Forest is explained. I mean, it's believable, it's interesting, but at the same time it didn't create enough interest in me to continue with the series and read the next installment in the trilogy, which is Descent. I mean, the reason why is because the whole matter with this alien threat is basically solved in the end of the book, and this lack of cliffhanger, or at least promise of some kind of conflict that would happen in the next book, didn't create enough pressure to push me towards the next installment in the series. So I probably won't read it, but who knows. Last two books from the bunch I have read via Internet Archive channels, so unfortunately they are not physically present, as was in Inferno, by the way. I forgot to mention that. The penultimate piece from the bunch was one of the most fascinating and at the same time most frustrating reading experiences I have ever had, and this experience was delivered by the book Nightland, written by William Bob Hodgson. Just for the record, I discovered this book few years ago when I was researching sci-fi novels featuring superstructures or big dump objects like Rama, Ringworld, or mobile super cities or what have you. This one came about among others. So what's the fascinating part? Well, as I dived in and the whole world imagined by Hodgson started to unfold in front of my eyes, I couldn't understand how this book could have been published in 1912. I mean, 1912. The book features one of the most fascinating post-apocalyptic worlds I've ever encountered on my literary journeys. It's one of those books that were ahead of their time by decades and decades. I don't even want to talk about it much because I don't want to spoil it for you. So go grab it, read at least 100 pages, and you will see what I mean. So that was a fascinating part. What's the frustrating part? Well, the book is written in this weird biblical archaic narrative style, which I believe can put some readers off. It didn't bother me that much as I would think. What's the bigger problem is the scope and the size of the book. It's like 500 pages long, and after these amazing 100 pages, it just becomes so repetitive and dull that you just pray for some twist to happen that would put you out of misery. But nothing like that happens. It becomes even more dull and repetitive, and even kind of interesting ending can't do the justice. It's kind of similar to Hot House, but more special to me. So if I seem to sound more enthusiastic about it, that's because I am. Oh, all right. That was Nightland, an anomaly of science fiction genre literature. The ultimate piece from the bunch is also a novel by William Bob Hodgson, The House on the Borderland. This is a mixture of survival horror and a metaphysical journey. It sounds weird, but it kinda works. And this survival horror part is interesting because there's this main protagonist who is hiding in his big house in the middle of nowhere, and he's attacked by these horrible pig creatures who are trying basically to perpetrate a home invasion on him. And this segment is interesting because I would bet my edition of Hot House that Sam Raimi, the director of Evil Dead series, was inspired by this segment because it's just so reminiscent of Evil Dead. Anyway, great read, I enjoyed it. I'm just amazed how colorfully can Hodgson write about stuff like anomalous movements of celestial bodies or just plain material structurally decaying all around you. Stuff like that, the usual. The book doesn't really answer any mysteries it threw into your face, but it didn't bother me that much. I enjoyed it, and that's all matters. So that's it, 10 books. Now I have to let go of some steam because this was very stressful. So if you just excuse me. What you just saw was me practicing a certain form of literary tai chi called bookji. You place a yin in one hand and you place a yang in the other. You place a yubik in one hand and you place hot house in the other. A perfect balance. Well, I hope you enjoyed my disjointed ramblings about sci-fi books. I hope I inspired you to read Hot House or some other book. I might do this again, this book reviewing. Also, I wouldn't call it book reviewing, it's just like talking about books or something like that. Now I just have to shut up and find a way to end this. And basically, to get the fuck out of here. Alright. I just checked the whole video, I evaluated the stuff, and I noticed that I said in the sentence when I was talking about Ubik, I said with spraying the compromised spot instead of by spraying the compromised spot. I mean, what a letdown. I'm not the native speaker, but I would expect more from me after all those years. God damn it. Anyway, take care, read something, and tummy bellies, motherfuckers!